Let me get flashlight.
Well, we are live. I just got to make sure that I'm right first, and like everybody here can hear me. I hope everyone can hear me. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Yes. We are in the building. Welcome to Box to Box Football, and guys, we're here for, how do I say it? A preview, a final day preview to the Euros. So the Euros will start tomorrow. Finally, it was meant to start last year. Unfortunately, we know COVID came in the way, but it's happening. It's gonna start tomorrow. Everyone's excited. I'm excited. You're excited. Your dad, uncle, mom, everyone's excited. For the Euros, and it's the final day. We've seen people's predictions. We've seen all the previews, but we're gonna do one more preview, just looking into all the groups, and also mainly getting your opinion. I want to hear from you guys, and I want to know what you feel is gonna happen. I'm gonna ask you. Let's say when people come in, we're gonna ask who you think is gonna win, top goal scorer, who who will be the player of the tournament, and also who is gonna get out of the group. But first of all, I just want to give a big shout out to Jack, who's been a bit busy in the past few days, past few hours. To be fair, Jack, could you just let everyone know what you've been doing?
Yeah, so I think it's just further proof, mate, that the internet's a strange place, you know. So I see, obviously I'm fascinated by the fact that Jose Mourinho is going to be coming to Roma, and then I'm even more fascinated by the fact that a manager who I have a lot of time for is going to be going to Spurs and get an opportunity at the biggest club so far in his career. So I made a couple points, kind of trying to correct some Spurs fans who may have been misinformed about, Fonseca getting fired and how he's a bad manager and a bad coach. All of these things that aren't true. I was just defending him, and it's just funny. A couple of retweets, a couple of likes later, and you've got basically an entire fan base kind of talking to you and approaching you. And I was it was nice enough for kind of We Are Tottenham TV and Spurs 9501 to kind of get in touch with me and have me on just to speak about Fonseca potentially taking over at Spurs. And obviously, as long as they give me a nice opportunity to shout out Box to Box Football at the end, then I'm here for it.
Again, guys, please go check out them two videos Jack was in. He gave some great, if you are a Spurs fan, he gave great insight into Paulo Fonseca and what he has done in his time on the Roma and what he can bring to Tottenham. Guys, I really suggest you go check that out. But Jack, let's get into the groups. Yeah, and let's talk about Group A. I think tomorrow it's going to be Italy and Turkey. Am I right tomorrow? So
yeah, this is 8 o'clock tomorrow.
So 8 o'clock tomorrow, guys. I'm trying to watch it because my girlfriend wants to go out. So I'm gonna do my best to watch it because I try not to miss games when it comes to international tournaments. But listen, the woman's chatting everything like that. But again, let's look at Group A first. We got Turkey, Italy, Wales, and Switzerland. Jack, who do you have going through in this group?
Italy.
Yeah,
you'll be shocked to hear.
Well, watch me. Wow, Italy, really?
Yeah, one of the best goalkeepers in the world today, who has his eye on. I think it's going to be a move to PSG, or if that's what it feels like or sounds like. Some rumors.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's the right move for him?
No. If I'm trying to advise him, I'd tell him to go to Juve. And I know that's boring. No, dude, I know, I get it, but you've got success for 15 years. I'm going to put my headphones back in here. You've got success for 15 years if you go to Juve.
You are Italy's starting goalkeeper for the next 15 years, and you're Juventus's starting goalkeeper for 15 years. So that's what I would say to Donnarumma. But that, combined with the defensive strength that we know Italy always have, some really talented midfield players. I was absolutely gutted personally for Lorenzo Pellegrini to not make the squad. Pulled up with a little bit of an injury. Somewhat selfishly, if that means he's got a bit more running in him for Roma next season, then hey, I'm happy with that. But the likes of Nicola Barella, Marco Verratti, I know James, you mentioned it. You're looking forward to him stepping up in one of these big tournaments, and then going forward, whether it's Ciro Immobile, who I think will be top scorer, Andrea Bellotti, Fede Chiesa, Bernardeschi. There's some serious talent there. So Italy, of course. And then the most interesting thing, James, is these other three. I don't know. I'm going to say Turkey because I think they have a couple of key difference makers. I look at Burak Yilmaz. I look at Hakan Çalhanoğlu. I look at somebody like Demiral. I look at just some general positions across the board. I don't know if Nuri Şahin still plays for Turkey at all. But, I know they've got some talent knocking around for that Turkish team. And yes, Wales have Gareth Bale. And yes, Switzerland have got a solid squad. But I think I'd go Italy and Turkey.
Turkey. I don't really know too much about them. Like, I don't know what type of great players that they have as much. The one team that gives me the consistency that I'll be looking for, and especially in them crunch moments, is Switzerland. Just like just the fact that in a number of tournaments they've been there, and especially in the Euros, I think they've qualified for the last 6 Euros, and they've always done well. Maybe last 16 or maybe even a quarterfinals here or there. Wales are a wild card because if they do what they've done in previous tournaments, we could be in for a serious ride there. The question is for Bale, for Wales, is that what happens with Gareth Bale? If Gareth Bale is Gareth Bale, then I'll give them a chance. If Aaron Ramsey is the Aaron Ramsey of old and we know and love, I will give them a chance because again they have a talented squad, but the problem is that are they past it? But my team is personally Switzerland.
Yeah, and I don't think you're wrong in that. I mean, there was certainly that era where we were looking at, Ricardo Rodriguez and Stefan Lichtsteiner, and we were talking about these really kind of top quality fullbacks. I think they got Briel and Bolo, who I know a lot of people are excited about going forward. Some decent defenders, and obviously
Shaqiri's always there. We got Granit Xhaka in there. Going to get a few yellow cards.
Granit Xhaka, who's going to be signing for Roma this summer. But yeah, no.
How do you feel about that question? How do you feel about Xhaka to Roma?
I think that if we can get some attitude in that midfield and Jose Mourinho can get the best out of him, then great. But do I like it as a signing? Absolutely not. No, I don't. I think the guy's a bit of a joker. But James, this I know you'll be like, what the hell? There's one unbelievably fascinating group which we will get to. But this is an underrated group because there's one standout team, and then there's 3 teams who are really kind of similar.
But Jack, does Italy make you feel like they're just gonna blow every team away? I don't think so personally.
No,
I feel like it's going to be a tough. All 3 games are going to be tough games for them. That Italy might get a 2-1 or a 1-0 win or something like that. It's not going to be as straightforward as people would think.
No, they will. They're not going to lose a single game, I would say.
Really?
I don't think so. But I think it will be, like you've said, it will be 2 wins and a draw, or 2 draws and a win. There's not going to be this kind of just clean sweep, 4-0, 4-0, 4-0 in 3 games, and great, thanks for coming. It's going to be closer. And obviously all you need is one of these other teams to get a nice little draw against Italy and then beat the other 2 teams. Italy might not even top the group. But they'll go through. Let's be fair.
Listen, Italy to me, I'm like my dark horses. I expect a lot of teams to be scared of them because the talent that they have is so underrated.
Right.
Everyone needs to watch out for them. But let's move on to Group B. And who do we have in Group B? So we got Denmark, Finland, Belgium, and Russia. Now this is another tasty old group because Belgium, who we all know, we expect them to finish. I don't think it's a thing where we're thinking, could they? No, I expect Belgium to win all 3 games. To be fair, the question is who gets that second slot. And guys, we're on Group B right now. Comments down below. Let us know who you think is going to go through. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe.
Yeah, James, I think Denmark. I look at, and I know this will sound somewhat disappointing, but I look at a Kasper Schmeichel, a Simon Kjær, a Christian Eriksen, and I just think to myself that there's enough of a spine there, enough of kind of players who have done well in their career and are leaders in their own right to just have enough more than Finland and Russia.
And so we got
Anders, I agree with you, mate.
Again, yeah.
That's my pick, but I mean, again, Finland.
Wait. Does Russia not scare you, especially from their showing in the 2008 World Cup? Do they not scare you that they could pull off an upset?
I think they're always dangerous. I think that, one thing that you'll always get with these Eastern European teams is that kind of grit and that determination, right? Where some of the more Central European, Northern European teams are a little bit more chilled, composed. You do get that kind of grit from a lot of Russian teams, but I just think Belgium are obviously far and away the best team, but Denmark probably just have a little more than Finland and Russia.
Again, just like you, I feel like the quality of Denmark is going to put them through here. This one might be this group might have a place where we might get, one of the best third place finishes in it, because I generally won't be surprised, because Finland, like, I get that they're not outstanding, but they could pull up a surprising. Russia's one that everyone needs to be scared of, because they could pull off a serious surprise there. But again, Belgium and Denmark are the two teams that I definitely have going through. So we're moving on to Group C. Jack, who are you taking in this group?
This one's really tricky. Netherlands is obviously one of them, but we know that the state of the kind of Dutch squad right now, this is one of the worst spells in kind of international history for the Netherlands. We're not doubting Matthijs de Ligt. We're not doubting Frenkie de Jong. We're not doubting Memphis Depay, right? They have some talent. Wijnaldum. We know what they're capable of. But generally speaking, they are not up there with Europe's elite right now. I still would give them enough to go through, and I think they're going to be accompanied by Ukraine. I just think that there's Go ahead.
Do you feel like the reason why you're not as high with Netherlands is like the fact that they've lost Virgil van Dijk, and like we know, who's the Man United midfielder again?
Donny van de Beek.
Like Donny van de Beek isn't going to play, so those are two massive misses in the team, especially Virgil van Dijk. I think he makes such a big difference. So that I'm guessing that's why you kind of down on them.
I mean, it's part of the reason, but I also look at, James, this is not Ruud van Nistelrooy, Ian
Robin van Persie,
right, Van der Vaart, Giovanni van Bronckhorst. That's not where we're at anymore. And it's not to disrespect these other people. Virgil van Dijk is the biggest loss, I would say, across the tournament. I mean, we can talk about Zlatan's importance to Sweden, but talk about importance. Virgil van Dijk in Holland is a big one, and Matthijs de Ligt is not on Virgil van Dijk's level. But I give them, to kind of get back to the group, I give them a good chance of going through, although I don't think it's going to be clean, and they could easily lose to Austria or Ukraine. And I just give Ukraine that slight edge over Austria. And obviously North Macedonia are just making up the numbers.
Yeah, listen. North Macedonia will be a game where if you want to be top goal scorer, this could be a one where like you rack up the goals. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, Memphis.
We're going to see a lot of this, Jack. We're going to see a lot of this. But
right,
Austria, do you not feel like, especially like watching that England game and seeing that the quality that they had, and they really troubled this that England team, do you not feel like they could bring up a surprise and get a second place finish?
They could. I just look at Ukraine and just think that there's greater quality across the board. That's all. Yeah. It really is as simple as that. I'm not trying to dismiss Austria. I know that the Austrian league is definitely an underrated domestic league, and we see a lot of Austrians do incredibly well in the German Bundesliga as well. But I just think Ukraine will have too much eventually.
Again, guys, comments down below. Let us know the two teams that you believe is actually going to get first and second place. So we're going to move on to Group D. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is where I'm guessing all the viewers come in right now. England, Croatia, Scotland, and the Czech Republic. Woo! This is a lovely group to have right here. This is spicy. Jack, let me know. Who do you have going through?
England are going to go through. Okay. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think the Croatia game is a walk in the park. I don't think the Scotland game is a walk in the park. I think that the Czech Republic game, England will go into thinking, this will be easy. I still don't think that will be a walk in the park either. Across the board, England are going to have to play well to top this group. This is not a gimme like I think a lot of people think it will be. The other team to go through, honestly, it's a toss-up between Croatia and Scotland. And I'm sure people might be thinking, come on, Jack, just pick Croatia. Stop being stupid, just pick Croatia. Scotland have some players. Scotland have some serious players.
This is honestly one of the best Scotland teams I've seen in recent years, because let's be honest, Scotland have had some absolute pants worth of teams. Like, generally, me and you could have got in. I definitely could have got in if I'm being honest, but I don't disagree with you. But the one thing that people need to you need to also get is to put some respect on Croatia's name and what they've done in the last 10 years. You know, let's be honest, Jack. They've been more successful in international tournaments than England have. That's just
For
fact.
sure.
You know, and I look at them, and I also feel like, based on like the way the groups are, I think isn't England not better off finishing second in that group, because they could avoid like I don't know exactly how the table works.
I don't want to do that anymore, because I feel like that was the case in the 2018, wasn't it? Like, England, it was better if England finished a certain place.
But Jack, let's be honest, it worked out for England so well, because could you imagine being on the other side of the bracket, the way how Belgium had to go up against Japan, Brazil, and then France? You guys you guys got
it easy
compared to what they got.
That
also,
doesn't...
guys, comments down below, guys. Guys. Let us know, who do you think is going to go through out of the four, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button.
The one thing I'd say though, mate, is like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that gives a winner's mentality. The moment you start trying to finish a certain position because you want to avoid certain teams, you're not winning the tournament. And the reason you should be there is to try and win. So to answer your question, I'm gonna say England, and I'm gonna say Scotland. I really am. I'm not trying to disrespect Croatia too much, but I think this Scottish team, because James, the other thing we've got to remember too, we can't only give England a home field kind of advantage here. Scotland is on the same island as England is. And, you know, this is kind of as much of a home tournament for Scotland as it is for England. And, you know, whether it's Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, Scott McTominay, you know, Scotland have some players. You know, who's our dude from John McGinn? You know, they have some players.
They have some serious players. The one thing that came into my head, that when was the last time England won all three games in a group stage? I think it was 1996.
Probably.
Yeah. In the Euros, like, England won all three games in any type of international competition. This could be a case where England could do that and really make a statement, because I'm all about, when you go into these tournaments, building confidence throughout every game. I remember in my head, I thought about the 2010 group that England were in the World Cup, where the first two games they draw to USA, and then they draw to Algeria, and then after that it kind of killed momentum, and like we all know what happened in the knockout stage against Germany. This is the one right now where I think that England could win all three games and get a maximum points and really going with high momentum going into the knockout stages.
The reason why I give England a good chance of going through is because I look at the two other teams that would go through as Croatia and Scotland, and I look at from a Scottish perspective. Do I think Scotland are going to win out against Czech Republic or Croatia? No. Do I think Croatia are going to do that against Scotland and Czech Republic? No. So I think that this is quite an evenly matched group, generally speaking, and I think that England will have enough to go through.
Sammy said that. Sammy, let's be honest. Compared to what they've had before, this is actually good. So you know, this is like when you get like bad food and they just give you something it's bad but just with a bit of salt and pepper. You'll take
so much
it.
Better, yeah.
You know, that's what you're getting with this Scotland team.
That England Scotland game, mate, is gonna be fiery.
It could go like the way it went with Wales. And remember in like 2016, where like it was literally like a last minute goal from England. It's gonna be a tasty one. But again, I would love if England go out all out and try to win all three games. And really maximize, you know, because Jack, let's be honest, all three games are winnable, you know.
100%.
But again, guys, let's move on. Let's go on to Group E right now. So we got Spain, Switzerland, Poland, and Slovakia. This one, again, the one team that I realized no one has spoken about throughout this whole time is Spain. Like, I get it, they've dominated for 4 years. We've seen this team win back-to-back Euros, win a World Cup, just dominate with the style of play. They going into this Euro, Jack, they still have a tremendous squad, but I haven't heard one person pick Spain or talk about them being dark horses or anything like that.
Well, I think the one thing that we know about Spain, generally speaking, is we know what they have an abundance of, and that is kind of not incredibly physically imposing, but very good, technically gifted players. And they've always been a squad that when it works, it is special. We know it's special, right? But they've not had that. They've got these.
We're getting onto that, Sammy. Just hold on with us. We're getting there.
The thing with Spain, though, James, is obviously the COVID issues that they've had recently.
Sergio, wait, is Sergio Busquets going to miss the whole of the group stages then?
I don't know how it works, man. And all I'm getting is, look, I've got a fantasy team that I'm running, and I'm just being drip fed.
Also, guys, we are actually going to create a fantasy league for everyone to kind of join into. So again, it's going to be on me and Jack's Twitter and the Box to Box Football Twitter. So keep your eye on that. But Jack, yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, let's be honest. We've got a goalkeeper who's in probably the worst form of his career, potentially, in David De Gea. It's a defense that's going to be without Sergio Ramos. That's a big change. I think the likes of Sal Niguez didn't even make the squad. You know, there's some very questionable.
Let me look at the Spain team.
Yeah, there's some very questionable omissions there, and you know, some players who I know that the manager likes, but across the board you'd kind of question. You know, Ferran Torres is one of the best players in this Spain squad. We haven't really seen it for Man City, but for Spain, he does it. He does it on a weekly basis. Of course,
to be fair, like when he has played for Man City, he's been tremendous.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When he gets his opportunity, but yeah, I pick Spain to go.
How does Eric Garcia go to the
games?
To the bloody
good question.
Has he played this year, Jack?
There's some bureaucracy. Yeah, he's played a bit, but James, there's some bureaucracy stuff going on there. I think there's some Barcelona bias going on there.
Listen, I think it's the first time not one Real Madrid player was picked. I don't think that's ever happened in like the history of Spanish football. This is James, historic, and he can really.
Eric Garcia though is going to go right after.
He is.
After doing not really anything for Man City because he signed for Barca. Don't tell me there's not a bit of corruption going on there. Anyway, a conversation for another day. Spain, I have, of course, going through. And the other one, I'm going to pick Sweden. I'm even without Zlatan, I think that gives them more of a team focus. I really like Emil Forsberg. And, you know, I really like Alexander Isak for Real Sociedad. I told you, I think this will be kind of the breakout star from the tournament, filling Zlatan's huge football boots and kind of moving from there. Victor Lindelof's in there as well. I know that there are a couple of other decent enough players there. And, you know, Poland, we know with Poland, that's going to just largely be the Lewandowski show. I know they've got kind of some other forwards in there of some repute. But to me, Spain and Sweden for Group E, James.
Jack, I actually don't disagree with you there. Sweden are like a team that I have going through. Poland, to me, yeah, I get it, Robin Lewandowski, but one player cannot win you a whole tournament. And to be honest, I'll pick a great team over one individual player. So I'm definitely rocking with Switzerland there. But let's move on to the final group, and to me, the tasty group. This is the one that we came to see. Oh, Group F, Hungary. Unfortunately, those are going to be the whipping boys. You know, listen, you're going to see your Hungary about to see their big brother. Portugal, France, Germany. Jack, who do you have going through? Guys, also, please let us know. Group F, who do you have going through? Please comment, and then we'll shout you guys out.
Somebody's missing out. Somebody is missing.
But again, I feel with the Euros, it's good that they do have the third place finish, so it kind of helps, you know, great teams like this, because we're gonna miss out one great team. Let's be honest.
James, what is that statistic about teams who win a tournament who don't get out of the group stage for the next one? Is that the World Cup or is that the Euros?
Yeah. That's only Euros thing because Spain won back to back the year after. To be fair, Greece, but Greece was such a shock, like it didn't really happen. Could Portugal generally have a great chance of going back to back here? You know,
I personally believe That Portugal will definitely.
Silver in there, Jack.
Silver Surfer, why are England drifting down every year? Teams like Croatia, etc., are improving, but not England. I don't know if I agree with that. Mate. I'd love to hear your reasons why in the comments. If you put some reasons, maybe James and I will speak with you about that. But I don't know if I agree.
Yeah, comments, Silver Surfer, please let us know, because I have a different feeling towards that. Just like Jack too. But yeah, Jack, let's carry on with the group.
I think Portugal are definitely through. Now, I don't know whether that's first or second. I really don't. But what I would say to you is that there's a certain level for me. I don't know about how you feel about this, James. Is there a certain level of overconfidence from France?
I think, Jack, do you know what it is? I'm happy you mentioned that, because I feel that there is. But first, let's just get into a few comments before we go.
Yeah.
So we got Andreas, so he is France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary. I feel like that's like, would you agree with that or no?
James, I'm gonna say that Germany and Portugal are the guys who go through. Now, I know that's going to be a shock, and I'm not trying to just do clickbait, and I'm not trolling here or anything. I look at the French.
Wait. Are you trying to tell me that France are going to?
I just have a feeling about it. Because James, Germany, when it matters, what do? They come through and they do it.
Yeah, but Jack, I want you to understand, like this. I get it, but remember what happened in the last World Cup and what's gone on with Germany. Just remember this. Like recently, they got smashed 6-1 by Spain. This isn't the German team with a great spine anymore. Bar Manuel Neuer, can you tell me any recognized winners in this team? Yeah, Thomas Muller, but it's just not the same team.
Goretzka, Kimmich, there's some players there.
A man like Gary
Garner. James, I'm just kind of thinking it out. I probably will go for France and Portugal, but I want everybody watching to appreciate this. I just feel like France are not strong defensively, and I don't know, a little bit of overconfidence maybe. But I'll go France, Portugal. Silver Surfer, just a question to you guys. We haven't achieved anything over the years. Yeah, no, hey, you are not wrong there, my friend. We have achieved nada in a very, very long time. But I think that you're crazy if you don't think that since Southgate has taken over that there isn't an improvement year after year, especially for this Euros and going into the World Cup next year.
If I'm being honest, this is probably one of England's best teams since 2010. Like, I feel like the quality level has definitely gone up. Like, just look back in your 2016 team and just look at the quality compared to now. Like, you look how many great offensive players you have coming into this England team. So you have improved. We got a nice little shout out here for you, Jack.
Sandy A, thanks for the lowdown on Fonseca on We Are Tottenham TV. Hey, you are welcome, my friend. Anytime, obviously, feel free to give me or James a shout regarding any of this stuff. We're happy to keep the conversation going.
Definitely. And also, guys, if you haven't yet, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, please. So we got also Gary here too.
Gary, what's wrong with you, Gary? I won't be watching much of the Euros, and you think Holland are gonna win? What's going on in your house right now? What's happening there?
Listen, he's always a joker. He really is always a joker. We also have Sammy with a comment too.
France strength is actually defense, bro. No, Sammy, I totally disagree with you.
Sammy, I do agree with you, Jack. I like look at the strength of. Wait, let me pull up their defense. Like look at this. Wait,
yeah, but James, names don't win anything. I see Kimpembe who didn't win anything this year, and Varane.
I think like Jack, you're a bit too harsh to Kimpembe. Kimpembe is fantastic.
I disagree. Ruben Diaz is much better than Rafael Varane or Kimpembe. Like, much better, no question. Sammy, trust me, the issue for France is defense and goalkeeper. Midfield and going forward, they're absolutely fine. Defensively is where they'll struggle.
And like, just remember too, with Kante protecting them, Jack. Come on, he's gonna cover the whole pitch.
I know it's bad losing to Spain 6-1, but the lineup then versus now has changed. Is that with regards to England?
No. That was Germany. Has it really changed since then? What, the same team? Manuel Neuer was in goal. I think Tony Cruz played. It hasn't really changed that much. I think the only thing he's brought back in is Hummels. No, Hummels was in already, but I think he brought back Thomas Muller, and that could be a big thing. But I don't think Thomas Muller has ever scored in the Euros. Yes, in a World Cup, we know how amazing he is. But he's never scored in the Euros final, so that might be some. That might be another order there.
We'll be watching Love Island instead. Hey, do what you got to do. Loved your insights on our new manager. Come on, you Spurs. Oh man, of course you're absolutely welcome. I'm wishing him all the best. Seriously, I'm a big Paulo Fonseca fan. I know James probably isn't wishing him much success, but
listen, we'll get into how I feel about Tottenham later on.
Diaz has had one good season in top 5 leagues. Let's see next year. Sammy, you can't just take away his success at Benfica by doing the top 5 league thing. He was a colossus at Benfica.
Listen, Sammy, he was amazing in Benfica. But guys, I just want to pose a quick question to everyone right now. Who do you guys have winning the Euros? Please comment please comment down and let us know, guys. Who do you have winning the Euros? Sammy,
Portugal double pivot is useless.
Wait. To me, I think one player that everyone has seemed to forgot about with Portugal is William Carvalho, and how big he is for Portugal, and especially when you look back at like to 2016, he played a massive part in it, and him playing next to a player like a Bruno Fernandes or
Bernardo Silva, Jota.
Who's the midfielder that plays for Lille?
Oh, Renato Sanchez.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I went blank. Renato Sanchez coming in, like that is a strong midfield.
Sammy, I'm not sure it's going to be a double pivot, mate. It may look like that on a formation sheet, when you're watching the game, but I think in actuality it will not look like a 4-2-3-1. Oh, Anders, he'll tell you.
Listen, unfortunately, I'm an Arsenal fan, and it's generally unfortunately because we are horrendous. Like, if you are a Tottenham fan, we're better than you guys overall, but like,
James and I are horrendous. James and I are Europa League semi-final brothers right now. That's
like at least like you went out a bit more respectable in the second leg. We just brought out a dud
after losing 6-1, 6-2 to Man United. Sandy A, Lloris, Pavard, Varane, Kimpembe, Hernandez isn't. You know what, though, Sandy? I don't think Theo Hernandez made the squad.
Yeah,
did he?
He did.
Okay. Turkey to make the semis, dark horse. Man, that is bold. That is super bold. France will win the Euros. France v Portugal final. Yeah, James, just going back to the group. I have Portugal winning the tournament, but it's not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty. It's going to be lots of wins by 1 goal margin. It's going to be penalties. It's going to be probably controversy, close games, but I just think Portugal will do it.
Sammy, the one thing like I have there is that I don't think having a double pivot of Delino and Carvalho would be that effective, to the point of view of like if 2 midfielders who do the exact same thing. You need that little bit of balance where you can have someone who is a bit of a. I think one of the best ones that I was a big fan of was when Chelsea had Matic and Kante. They were both kind of defensive minded, but they do different things.
Totally different.
Kante was a breaker, like was all around breaking up play while like Matic sat there and like what's it called again? Deflected the back four.
Also, Sammy as well. We can't rule out Sergio Oliveira as well. I'm not saying that he's any better than Danilo Pereira, William Carvalho. Andre Gomez, Ruben Neves, any of these kinds of guys, but he's somebody the manager of Portugal really likes, and this is a manager who's been there a long time and has won a Euros and a Nations League, so that man calls the shots along with probably Mr. CR7. What do you guys think about Kane in the big game, Silver Server? Hey, thanks for your comment, James. You wanna start with this one?
I feel like Harry Kane is. I'm still waiting for him to have that big game. He showed up in let's say in the North London derby. He's gotten a goal against Barcelona. He's gotten maybe a knockout stage goal against Dortmund. But in big games, he hasn't showed up for Tottenham yet. And for England, it's the exact same thing. When I think of great players, I think of moments. I think of great moments that like define their career. Henry, I think of the goal at the Bernabeu when he took on literally the entire Real Madrid team. Ronaldo, there's countless of ones. Messi, there's countless of ones. Didier Drogba, countless. Harry Kane does not have that signature moment, that great moment. And maybe this will come in this tournament where like we may see him score in a quarterfinal or like the semi-final to propel England, but he hasn't had that yet. Champions League final, wasn't fit, had a terrible game. League Cup final, wasn't fit again, had a terrible game. You know, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
Guys, one big thing that I'm on, and yeah, again, if you watch James's face on the screen here, you'll actually see blood come from his ears because the amount of times he's heard me say this. But I'm huge on environment, and it's what you can do with what you have. It's a team sport. Now, unless you're Ronaldo, unless you're Messi, you can't just take the game single-handedly. And Kane is not on those kind of guys' level. He's not. And unfortunately, Kane has done as much as he can in big games, but he needs other people to step up. To win a big game, you need 3 or 4 big performances from different players.
But let's be honest, Jack. Did Harry Kane play well in that Champions League final? He wasn't fit. He wasn't fit. To me, when it comes to big games, he just hasn't done it yet. I don't doubt Harry Kane. Do I want Harry Kane at Arsenal? If Harry Kane goes to Man City or like Man United, I'm picking them to win the title. Yeah, that's how high I rate Harry Kane. But no matter where you are, no matter what situation you are, there will be a big game here or there where you deliver and like you're remembered for it. It's not always about the individual, but you always have that signature moment that you create as a player. Harry Kane hasn't created that yet.
Bale versus Inter does not happen very often, right? You know, what was it? Zlatan against England. Those games don't happen very often. And what I would say to you is that, you know, let's be honest here. If Kane is at Man United or Man City, we're going to see him deliver in big games the whole of next season. He's just not had the opportunity really to have one of those big performances. Silver Surfer, he didn't show up against City in the League Cup. He and Son do that all the time in big games.
Listen, I feel like one thing about like, especially that League Cup game, yes, they should have done more. I don't doubt that. But I feel Tottenham as a whole in that game did not show the bravery when they needed to at that time. It was the fact that when I was just watching them, things like receiving the ball and just playing forward, they were so negative. They were so cautious. They were scared to make a mistake. And when you do that in like a game like that, you're not going to be successful. And it's not just down to them. If the whole team reacts better, they will have a better chance to affect games. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, let's be clear. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son can only do so much. That's the thing. Arsenal fans can't say Harry Kane's name.
Listen, I want Tottenham fans to understand this, right? Okay. Let me tell you. Harry Kane, I'm not really scared of. Yes, he scores goals against Arsenal. But if I remember straight, 6 of them goals straight were like all penalties. If you tell me like someone like a Didier Drogba, that's a different story. Now, this guy ripped my heart out, made me cry a bunch of times. Harry Kane has never really made me cry. He scored in like a North London derby that maybe like, okay, for like 5th place or something like that. Never ever done it in a big stage against Arsenal compared to a Drogba or a Rooney who is like ripped my heart out about 1,000 times.
He didn't show up against City.
We're just going to go on to...
Anders, Denmark to the semi-finals after beating Turkey and Germany and then going out to Portugal. Man, you got Denmark beating.
Listen. If you are that sure about that, go on to Paddy Powers or whatever and drop a little bet.
I'm gonna guess here too. Like I'm hoping I'm not kind of doing a prejudge, you know, discrimination type deal here. But with a name like Anders, are you Danish? That's my question. Because if you're Danish, that's some serious support for your home team right there. Oh my God, boys, please look at Harry Kane's stats. He's world class, broken so many records, World Cup Golden Boot, Premier League Golden Boot, scored against every team. Hey, dude, I think he's, you know, I think this Harry Kane on any given week could be considered the best striker in the world. I've spoken with James about this 100 times. Like, there's a group of guys right now, a group of forwards who on a week-to-week basis, they can show you why they're the best number 9 in the world. And Kane is right up there.
Listen, just like Jack too, I don't disagree with Harry Kane's ability. Like, if you tell me Harry Kane's the best striker in like in the world. I wouldn't fight you about it because he's definitely showing me that he has the capabilities of being the best striker, and at times he is the best striker. But I get it. Bring up all them stats and all that. The World Cup one is a bit of a blemish. Like let's be honest. Like, listen, you take the Golden Boot, but you know and I know what happened.
There's
I'm not
like
talking no more.
And you know, guys, I'm appreciating you guys on Box to Fox Football. That's awesome. Guys, I honestly think this is one of the most underrated channels. Do you have any plans for growing? More people can enjoy. Hey, Anders, we appreciate that. I'll leave that one up to James.
Again, guys, if you're interested in coming on, we'll definitely try to get more people on. Definitely. Again, the Euros is when like we're gonna try and go live as many times as possible, especially during games, get you guys involved as much as possible.
Anders, we do this for the love of it, man. We you know, James and I have not got some sort of big long-term 6-month plan going on. We're just rolling with the punches and doing it for the love of the game, you know.
Depending on what it is, I might be right now.
But no, going back to that stuff with Kane and any Spurs fans we got who've listened to me on We Are Tottenham TV or Spurs 9501, like, one thing that I made very, very clear is context in football is absolutely everything. Because, like James said, you can talk about.
Can I just bury Sandy quickly? Yeah, unfortunately, okay. You said winner. That game finished 2-2. Alexis Sanchez got the equalizer in that game, so it was a bit of a dud. Like, and even then, we went down to 10 men in that game, and if I remember straight, we could have went on to win that game after going down to 10 men. I'm just saying. But let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on. Let's just move on.
This is the issue. This is the issue about trying to get more Spurs fans on a channel which has an Arsenal fan on it. Like, there's always going to be an issue. But no, guys. Like, one thing I've said forever, and yet again, it's another thing I'm sure James is sick of hearing. We are so obsessed with stats and just awards and stuff at the moment. We totally forget about the context of situations. And Kane is one of these players. He has the most unbelievable achievements and statistics and stuff. But the one test which overrules any statistic is the eye test. And that's the most important thing.
I want you to understand this with Harry Kane. Like, listen, wonderful what he did this year. Winning. When's the last time? To win a Golden Boot and to win top assist. That is unbelievable. Amazing.
Right.
Like, outstanding. But let's take it into context. That Golden Boot and that assist, what led to what? A 7th place finish? That's not right. That don't work. That don't that don't make sense. If I'm a football player and I did that and my team is in 7th, I'm looking to the side saying, what's going on here?
Throwing stuff in the dressing room, right? Sammy. James, I saw the vid the other day. I think you need to explain to Jack what it's like to play alongside Vinicius, Asensio, and Rodrigo. Kane would hand in a transfer request every week if he was in Benzema's shoes.
Thank you, Sammy. I don't think people understood what I was talking about here. Thank you, Sammy. Now, we had a discussion on who was better, Harry Kane or Benzema. I have Benzema being better than Harry Kane, and I think Benzema's had a better season. And Sammy just made clear what exactly I was talking about. Jack, Vinicius is amazing, but when it comes to the final third, it's just not happening. Rodrigo, this is not a great Real Madrid team. In my opinion, going forward, it's Benzema or bust. Now, right. Harry Kane has had a great year, and he is he is Tottenham, but I would rather have Stone than have Vinicius and Rodrigo giving me the assist. Probably, you look at conversion rate, I guarantee you Benzema's probably higher.
And you're probably right. I think Kane takes a serious amount of shots, quite rightly so, because he scores a lot of goals.
No, but do you not feel like this year, the shots are kind of dropped? Let me actually see who took the most shots in the Premier League.
Yeah, if you check FB Ref, I mean, he's definitely dropping a lot deeper. So I'd say that he's less in and around the box. Maybe has less of an opportunity to score. And I know that Benzema would do anything to play alongside somebody like him.
Jack, Harry Kane still had the most shots in the Premier League with 137. So yeah, he's.
I get it, but I mean, his return on that is top goal scorer and top assister as well. So what I would say to you though, Sammy, is I do not think that Karim Benzema comes to England, plays in that Spurs team, and does what Kane did this year. I just don't think so. Ender vibes here. I think France will go through. They've got a solid squad. Hey. I'm not. Nobody's going to shout at you for that opinion, my
Jack,
friend.
does it amaze you to hear that stat that when Kante and Pogba start together, France don't lose? Does it like genuinely when I hear that, I'm like, oh.
Okay, what was it? 28 games, 30 games?
Yeah, it was 28 games. No losses. That is impressive.
That's nuts. And you know they're both going to play. I think Pogba, the latest news I saw, Pogba's trying to get a new deal signed at Man United. And obviously we know that Kante's just won the Champions League. So those guys are going to be very
also, Jack, does it amaze you when you see Ollie play Pogba out wide in big games, and when he comes to France, Pogba's in the middle in all the big games? Does it amaze you that Ollie just doesn't say, you know what, I get it, you have one or two deficiencies, I'm just going to stick you in the middle and trust you in the middle?
I think it's difficult. A lot of Manchester United fans would say that Man United need midfielders. I would say the complete opposite. I think central midfield, they're absolutely fine. Fred's had the best year of his career in a Man United shirt. Scott McTominay gets better and better. Donny van de Beek, when he's come in, has looked okay, but doesn't play enough. Matic is always okay. Pogba, there's enough of an option there and a rotation. To answer your question, though, I think that what they're trying to do, it's the fact he plays with Fernandes. France don't have a Bruno Fernandes. Not really. I mean, you could argue Griezmann kind of plays that role, maybe kind of a false nine-ish off, out maybe from out wide kind of role. But I think all Ollie's trying to do is make Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba work well together, which is difficult to do because they occupy the same space, James. Sandy, typical Gooner right there. Benzema better than Kane. Look at the Arsenal squad, mate. Villa are beating you boys to signings these days. Wendy.
Again, I can give you evidence why I believe Benzema's better. I get it. Listen, you need to watch La Liga also, not just watch the Premier League in this situation. And I get it. Villa are beating us to signings. I don't doubt that. But the fact of the matter is that Paulo Fonseca was like your 18th choice of managers. You went through about 15 managers, and they all rejected you, and you ended up with this guy. So I don't want to have that yet.
Don't get me started.
You know what it is right now is that we're both debating on how terrible we are. That's to me, that's a funny thing. We're both debating typical Arsenal, typical Tottenham fan. We're both really, really bad right now. Let's just put our hands up.
Sammy Perez out. Kane is in his prime, so I'll say he's better, but Benzema is a bigger carry job. Oh, Sammy, you are absolutely right. Trust me, I know that I'm sure some of the Spurs guys in the comments might say that Kane is carrying Tottenham with his, goals and his assists, but I agree with you. Going forward, Benzema is Real Madrid's attack.
Does it worry you that Benzema came off in the friendly the other day?
No, because is he gonna be fit? From what I saw and what I read, it was a dead leg. So it wasn't kind of a a non-contact muscular tendon ligament type deal. I think it was just he's probably gonna have a bit of a bruise, and maybe he'll be a bit shaky for the first game, but then Benzema will be back fighting. End of vibes. I think Benzema is better than Kane, but right now you can argue Kane might be better because of the stats.
But even then, the stats are not miles away. Benzema had 23 goals. Kane had 23 goals. Kane had 14 assists. Benzema had 9 assists, and Benzema played 2 less games. So it's not like they're miles apart when it comes to stats. And Benzema also played in the Champions League while Kane was playing in the Europa League and getting knocked out by Dinamo Zagreb. But I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. Listen,
he'll be in the Conference League with Roma next year, so don't worry. We love
to listen. We love to. We're not going to get into Mikel. Listen, that is for another day. Trust me, that is for another day. And yes, you're right. We are both for.
Sandier, we're both for. Sandier, I think Giroud is the most underrated forward. Hey man, he puts that French kit on, and he's a totally different player. I'll be honest. I'm going to confess something now. Edin Dzeko has wanted to leave Roma really for the last 18 months, maybe more. The guy I wanted to come in and replace him was Olivier Giroud, because I thought he was affordable and he would start every game, and I thought that he would play well in our setup with our team. So trust me, I'm on the Giroud hype with you. I think he's fantastic.
Olivier Giroud is never going to be a player that is going to be is going to lead you to a title, but he's a player that you have that can contribute to helping you. He's like a striker that, when strikers you're meant to lead and you're meant to be the glamorous player. He's a bit of a defensive midfielder, like a water carrier. He really he does all the dirty work that people don't seem to notice. For a striker, in 2018 World Cup not to score a goal or even had a shot on target, something crazy like that is unbelievable. But it told you that he had a job to do and he executed it brilliantly, and his team ended up winning. Like at the end of the day, it's not an individual sport. This is a team sport, and like he did what he did. Giroud,
Also,
I remember him playing for Arsenal. Underrated what he did there. Had some bad moments, but underrated at the same time.
Also, James, something to remember as well is like I love all that stuff on Twitter with like if you take Olivier Giroud's top 20 goals and tell some guy in 20 years' time that he was the greatest to ever do it, they might believe you. Like unreal.
You put Olivier Giroud's goals against someone like a Zlatan, we would have a field day. Some like strikes with like we would see, you know. Listen. At the end of the day, like I'm happy that we didn't qualify for that. But to be fair, do you know what I had it in mind? And you guys mess it all up. So on the final day, I was hoping if Leicester hopefully would have won that game, and they should have. Peter Schmeichel blundered the whole thing up. Chelsea would have finished 5th, and we would have finished ahead of you into 7th place. We would have went into the Europa Conference League. Chelsea ended up winning. What's it called? Again, the Champions League final, and that will free up a free Europa League spot, and the 7th place team would have got it. And Arsenal. That's what everything played out in my head, and it should have happened, but we all know what happened with freaking.
But James, I said this on some of the videos. Like I said this on some of the videos I was a part of today. Like I don't know what's more embarrassing, a team like Spurs or a team like Roma winning it or not winning it. Like what's more embarrassing? Seriously. Sammy, who partners CR7 in attack on Tuesday? So the interesting thing will be if they do it with a proper kind of like if they do it with proper wingers, in which case I think that we'll definitely see somebody like Diogo Jota, but then I'm not sure who the other one will be. I've spoken with James, and I'm sure you guys have heard me speak about this on recent videos. Andre Silva, I don't know what else that guy can do to try and get a start in this game, but I think that Ronaldo and Andre Silva are a little too similar, so it's not going to surprise me too much if maybe it's a Jota and a Bernardo Silva starting.
Are we done with the days of Ronaldo playing out wide? Is he just
I think so.
Like for Portugal right now, he's now number 9 now.
Yeah,
I think Ronaldo works well with Andre Silva next to him. And like looking at the recent tournaments, it's always been kind of like a 4-4-2 where Ronaldo could have drifted out wide. So right. I think they're going to do the exact same thing. But me just looking at some of the talent that they have there, João Felix, Bernardo Silva.
Haven't even talked about João Felix.
Diego Jota. Like the players that they can bring in, Jack, is scary. Right. And like what? In like, let's be honest, Bruno Fernandes is going to start 2 at the same time. So 100%. It might be a thing where Ronaldo might play up front on his own, but Andre Silva deserves a spot at the same time.
And we're not even really considering Nelson Semedo, João Cancelo, who was unbelievable the other day, by the way. Rafael Guerrero, Ruben Diaz, Jose Font, Pepe. If you'd have won the league.
If you would have played well in 2016, you wouldn't have won the league. Unfortunately, if you would have played well in the last 15 years, you would have won. You would have won something, but you haven't. That's football for you.
Ender vibes on FIFA. Do you think Kane and Aubameyang will become a legend or a player like Modric or Jordi Alba and people like that? Kane, yes, I do think so, because I think that Kane is destined to be a Wayne Rooney-like figure in terms of the history of the history of the game for England and for Spurs or whoever he goes to. James, can you put that comment back up in a sec? Sammy, we'll get to you in a sec. And Modric, absolutely. Luka Modric is an absolute icon for Croatia, for Real Madrid. And, guys, we have to remember, this guy won a Ballon d'Or. Aubameyang, Jordi Alba, not so sure. But Modric and Kane, I'd probably say so.
You know what it is? Like, Aubameyang technically has had a more successful career than Kane.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, let's not no. This is not a laughing matter. Like, technically, he has had a more successful career. He's played for teams like AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund, and has played in Champions League, has won trophies. Like, it's not like
was he at Milan? Did he go to Milan?
Yeah, he played for AC Milan. Like, Aubameyang's been around the place, Jack. If I'm being honest, but the problem is that would I put Aubameyang as an icon? I don't think so. I
also don't. One thing I'll say as well, because he represents Gabon, right?
Yeah.
Gabon is not really like
but also he was named African Player of the Year, and to me that's like massive.
That's huge.
You know, I think he's
James,
already.
It would be a totally different story if it was Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, right? But Gabon, I just don't know if he's ever going to have the mainstream success internationally to get full recognition. Right, what's Sammy got to say? Have I got to defend myself here, James? What's the next comment?
Let's go into it.
People saying Fonseca's crap really triggered Jack yesterday. Yeah, man, it did. Because I like the guy, and it's just there was a lot of misinformation yesterday and over the past couple of days. Just bad mouthing a guy who I think did a bang up job considering the circumstances. I think Fonseca was dealt a really bad hand, and unfortunately we're quick to just judge on the end result, and you can't. Unfortunately, people don't have the patience anymore to understand what happened and why things went badly. I've got a hell of a lot more patience for somebody like Paulo Fonseca than I do for somebody like Andrea Pirlo. I've spoken to James about this in terms of coaching experience and time spent learning how to coach. James Macanjola is more qualified to be manager of Juventus than Andrea Pirlo. Now, I know Andrea Pirlo is Andrea Pirlo, but I'm telling you, I have absolutely no time for a guy who hasn't fully got his badges and hasn't done it before compared to somebody who puts the time and work in,
I wouldn't say that. And also, Sandy, yes, yes, he did play for AC Milan. I don't. He didn't play a first team game for them, but Aubameyang didn't play. There's a picture of him in
was he there for the academy?
Yeah, but he was on the bench a bunch of times. For the team, but never got onto the pitch.
I always thought it was St. Etienne to Dortmund to Arsenal, but I guess
he started off his career at AC
at Milan. Okay,
Milan, and then a bunch of loan moves. So yeah, get your facts right. Don't play with me. Listen, don't play. Jack will tell you this.
James, yeah, when it comes seriously to anybody kind of new watching, like James is a bit of a savant. James has got his history down here. Sandy, Neto at Wolves is incredible. Hey, I agree. I think he's a better footballer than Diogo Jota, and not a great deal of people.
Is he Portuguese? Is he Portuguese too?
James,
he didn't go to the Euros. Like that's another one you're thinking, oh.
I mean, he's 20. I think he's 20, 21, but he fully stepped in and replaced Diogo Jota in that Wolves side. And for me, as far as I'm concerned, he's got a much higher ceiling than Diogo Jota. And whoever gets Pedro Neto after he finishes his time at Wolves is in for a serious shock.
Just keep on with the questions. I don't mind. Listen, if they're interesting, I don't mind answering them.
Silver Surfer, as a Roma fan, do you think Jose still has it? If Kane was a new player under him, not sure on his coaching ability, Jose is still an amazing guy. Look, I am not going to dispute the history of Jose Mourinho and what he has been able to achieve over his career. But right now, no, I do not rate him as a coach. I do not rate him as a manager. I think Paulo Fonseca is a better football manager right now on the 10th of June, 2021 than Jose Mourinho is. And I'm gutted to have lost him. But, Roma have new owners, a man called Dan Friedkin. He's an American owner, has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get Roma. And in this new era of Roma, where there are plans for a new stadium and some new players and some old players leaving and some new players coming in, like Rui Patricio and Andrea Bellotti and Granit Xhaka, they need a new face, a big name with some, name recognition and some global global presence. And Jose Mourinho is that guy. I don't think he'll last. I don't think he'll last very long, but we'll see, man. We'll see. It'll be exciting. I'll tell you that. Serie A is going to be very exciting next year, man. There's a lot of big changes in that league. Gary Garner's stack of ribs. AC Milan did have a young player called Aubameyang once upon a time, but it wasn't the Arsenal and Gabon player. Well, I think it was.
No. Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry, that was a previous. That was a previous understanding. Respect that.
There you go.
Respect, but to be fair,
I'll be naming players that are debatable legends for FIFA. Hey, man, if you want to throw out, legend is another one of these relative terms, but James and I will give you our opinion.
Yes, God, armies in the cup. Another big supporter of our channel, guys. Also, please go check out his channel. He also gives some wonderful content. If you want, please go check out his channel and like hit the subscribe button. But Jack, yeah, it's a day away from the Euros now. How excited are you?
Oh, unbelievable. Honestly, I think we've got a great game to get us started. And the reason why I say that is if we were given like France versus Portugal at the first game, I think there's always a risk of it disappointing, because the hype around that game would be crazy. Whereas Italy-Turkey is kind of one of those games where even if it's not that good, you kind of go, okay, it was the first game of the tournament. It's only one game, whatever. But it could be an unbelievable game. And I'm just excited to get going. England, I think, have a shot, semi-finals, maybe more. So I'm ready.
Jack, in my opinion, I love the group stages of like these international tournaments. Why? Because there's football every single day. I just love waking up and knowing I got 3 games today to watch. Even if it's like games that you won't be mad excited for, I'll sit down for 9 minutes and I'll just chill. Like this summer, I'm not doing much. I'm watching the Euros. That's all I'm doing.
One thing we haven't talked about, and maybe we'll kind of jump on a video here pretty soon, but Copa America too. Like there's been some controversy around that. We got some serious players who are potentially not going to play, but that with the Euros, man, there's going to be a kind of a big indent in my sofa right here.
So right now, I got the NBA playoffs going on. I got Copa America. I got the Euros, and I got the French Open. Wimbledon's going to happen soon. I'm not really fussed about the Olympics. Are you shocked that the Olympics hasn't got that much of like
No, you know why? And I know you're gonna hate this, James, but I don't really care about the Olympics.
Jack, it's the biggest. The World Cup to me is great, but historically, the Olympics is the biggest sporting event. I heard nothing about it.
I get that. Apart from the 100-meter final, I really don't care too much about it.
Jack, there's no more bolts, so no one knows who's actually running. In and out.
Sandy, Jack, Jose Mourinho will be successful at Roma. He'll be backed if the players buy into his philosophy. Roma will do great things. Hey, I'm hoping so. Paulo Fonseca had us playing some really nice football at times. And the reason why kind of my conclusion of Mourinho coming in is that I'm excited is because it says to me that Jose Mourinho would only accept the job if he was given an opportunity to buy players he wanted, which is something Roma have had an issue with for a kind of a long time now. So Granit Xhaka, not super high on, but if we can get an Andrea Bellotti, if we can get Rui Patricio to finally solve the goalkeeper problem and keep hold of Pellegrini, bring Zaniolo back in off of his long-term injury, keep hold of somebody like Spinazzola, etc., let's just see where we go. OmniFoot TV, Italy haven't lost a game in Rome since 1953. All 3 of their games are at the Olimpico. Is that right? Is that right? That doesn't sound right. Italy have got all 3 of their group stage games at the Stadio Olimpico in Italy? I don't think that's right, OmniFoot. You might be. I mean, I'm not.
But Italy are one of the hosts of the tournament, so I think he is right by that.
Man,
that is. Woo.
No way. Hang on a minute. So, sorry, I just want to check for my own sanity here. It just sounds like it's cheating.
Yes. Yes. I mean, Luka is amazing, and like to me. If he goes on the trajectory that I think he's going to go on, he will be a top 10 player in NBA all time. That's how good he is. Like this guy is just unbelievable. What he's doing at this, I like the age of 22, especially what he did in Europe, amazing. But yes, Jack, yes, I mean I have the Jazz in let's say 6 games. I think the Jazz are going to wipe the floor with the Clippers. I just hate them. They're just so annoying.
James,
away from them.
Just quickly, I owe OmniFoot an apology. Italy are playing all 3 group matches at the Stadio Olimpico, Roma and Lazio's home stadium. So these are all basically just home fixtures for Italy. So I'd like to go back on from what I said. I said it would be a win and 2 draws, 2 wins and a draw. They could easily win every single game quite handsomely. I cannot believe they've let them do that, honestly.
Well, how many teams are hosting it? It's like 6 teams are going to be.
Dude,
yeah. So
I don't know. Imagine if all three of England's home games were at Wembley. That's the kind of comparison.
Yeah, listen. It blows my mind too. Like, to me, that's a massive advantage, because it's not like, also when you look at these, like when you look at international teams, a lot of their players play in different countries. A lot of the Italian team, they all play in Italy,
mostly in Italy.
You know, so the home field advantage is so huge for them right now.
James, I'll tell you what. Ciro Immobile, top goal scorer, feeling better about it.
Listen, that definitely might be a possibility.
End of vibes. So discuss if Alaba, Royce, Pepe, the Portuguese one, Keylor Navas, I assume, Thiago Silva, Marcelo, Bellucci, Chiellini, Bale. Wow. Okay.
Alaba, yes. Royce, I think Royce is more of like an icon, but no. Pepe, hero. Yes.
Cult hero for Royce, I would say. Pepe,
Navas, yes. I agree. Thiago Silva, yes.
You think Keylor Navas will have an icon?
Jack, really? He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid.
Oh, he was that, yeah.
That cannot be argued, you know? And it's not like he played a big part. Jack, he was huge. He came up huge so many times, you know? He's an underrated goalkeeper.
The bottom part of your little comment there, Thiago Silva, Marcelo, Bonucci, Chiellini, Bale, all of them.
All of them. Without a doubt.
No doubt.
You could probably make a rank. You know, Bale, to me, as much as like we look at Bale right now, this guy is an all-time great.
Yeah, you know? and James talks about moments, right? When he talks about Kane and his lack of moments per se, right? You know, Gareth Bale is a guy who has more moments than you can count.
Gareth Bale's career is moments. It's just moments upon moments upon moments. Like his moments would be you put them up against like a Didier Drogba or something like that. These are some amazing moments. Like Gareth Bale, oof. I wish he would get back to his best, if I'm being honest.
Omnifoot TV, I had to check 3 times. Go ahead and make sure they haven't lost a competitive game in Rome since '53. And I checked the stadiums. Hey, man, I did just check just to kind of give myself peace of mind. I didn't mean to doubt you. But that's one hell of an advantage. If that kind of keeps up as well throughout the knockout stages, I don't think it is, because a lot of them are in England, but that's a serious advantage for them. Gary Garner's stack of ribs as a footy anorak. I'm a bit disappointed in myself that I didn't know that fact. Which fact? The 1953 one?
Listen,
dude, I wouldn't worry about that.
Even me, like, knowing a lot, I had no clue about that. Like, that's just amazing.
Omnifoot, I swear I'll be surprised if they concede over 2 goals in the group stage. They haven't lost a game in Rome for 68 years. Hey, seriously, and with a defense like that, a goalkeeper like that, midfield like that, and honestly, forwards like that, you know, Italy's forwards are dangerously underrated. Imagine Puskas was the main man for Hungary when they beat Italy in Rome. Yeah, damn. Damn.
That's crazy. I want to go on to just Sammy saying, Sammy, we've gone on about this a few times. Again, I think for what a centre back is, yes, he is average, but what a centre back is told to do nowadays, I think he's one of the best. You know, if he's like a, you know, sit back, like a John Terry type, having to defend your 18-yard box, I'm not gonna like put him up there. But playing the high line, having to be a sweeper, bringing the ball out, he's generally one of the best to do it. Right, like right now,
he can do a bit of anything, and like it or not, you know, as an all-round footballer, he can play, I would say, any position damn well. Also, people who are kind of new to the community watching this video right now, Sammy hashtag Perez out is a little bit of a box-to-box football community legend. A little bit of a strong opinion here and there. Obviously, you know his thoughts on Florentino Perez, but Sammy's a seriously active member of the community, and we always love seeing him. Sandy A, watch out for Marcus Thuram and Kingsley Coman. These 2 French players are incredible. Sandy, let me ask you, are you saying that because Borussia Mönchengladbach and Marcus Thuram are potentially going to be in talks with Spurs about signing him maybe as a replacement for Kane? That's my question for you. Have you been reading some BBC Sport gossip right there?
Jack definitely caught him out there.
Maybe. I mean, I like Marcus Thuram. Don't get me wrong. But you know, I wonder if that's why he's bringing that up there. I can talk about more players. I'm done. I need to leave and help my dad. Hey, man, help him. that's what children are for. How about your parents?
Guys, we've been chatting for a while right now. Unfortunately, I'm gonna call it a day. Again, guys, we've been going on for an hour right now. Had some amazing discussions with you. Comments have been absolutely flooded, giving great opinions. I'm really, really happy with all this type of stuff, guys. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button to help that algorithm. Let's kind of get us let's kind of get us up. We're gonna take one more question, right, from Silver Surfer, MVP for the Euros, Jack.
Who did I pick, James? Do you remember?
You had Mbappe, if I remember.
Did I have Mbappe? Yeah, I think I'll probably stick with that. I mean, the France team is too good. Mbappe is such a game changer, unreal. I mean, it could be any number of guys. I wouldn't rule out, somebody like Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne, but I'd go with Mbappe.
I have Kevin De Bruyne winning because I have Belgium winning the whole thing. But again, that could be multiple players, and again, and most valuable is different to like who's the best player. Most valuable is someone that contributes something a little bit different and like a little bit more at the same time. So it could be like a defensive midfielder, maybe a goalkeeper, for instance, for a team. But I promise this is going to be the last one. All right.
OmniFoot TV, by the way, more Euro-related stuff. Sonul Gunes took Turkey to the World Cup semi-finals in 2002. I think they could go far if they maintain their momentum, as he's done well since his return. Hey, man, look, Burak Yilmaz, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Demiral, Turkey have some players. I'm not disputing that. They could be a dark horse. They could.
And I'll never ever forget their run in the 2008 Euros, where like they made it to semi-final and lost to Germany in the semi-final. But they had a crazy one where like in the final group stage game, they went 2-0 down against the Czech Republic, and like in the last like 30 minutes, they end up scoring 3 goals to put themselves through. And against Croatia in the quarterfinals in extra time, they conceded a 90-minute goal and end up going over the other end in the space of a minute and scoring an equalizer and then winning on penalties. So Turkey are always a team that to be cautious of, because when they get going in tournaments, they could definitely be a threat. But guys, again, I'm going to call it quits. Appreciate the love today. We will be back live. We're going to go as live as much as possible during the Euros. Definitely stay tuned. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.